real victory. Every single sport, we will be watching you.
Welcome to Inside the Locker Room.
Good morning and welcome. It's time for the locker room as we get straight into everything sports on a wet hump of the week. It is a Wednesday, the 3rd of July, as we get into it. Tega, good morning to you.
Good morning. Not even a damp Wednesday, a very wet Wednesday. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Reminds me of Wimbledon yesterday. Had to play under closed roof. Play was suspended on the outer courts for a while. Oh my goodness. Are we in London and we don't know it yet?
And this weather can also be treacherous if you're on the track for the Grand Prix at this time, would you say?
Do you understand you'll be using full wet at this time if you're on the track? Full wet.
Yeah.
In fact, visibility will be poor, so there'll be a red flag. End of race. All right, this morning we have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the Olympics. We're going to touch on that a little bit. We are also going to touch on tennis because I just mentioned Wimbledon. A few names have fallen along the way. And then we will go to European football and also touch on Copa America. But before we do all this talking, Omatseye, could you tell us how we could be part of the locker room this morning?
For free, 0809-444-0981 will be where you can send your WhatsApp messages to. And then you can also race down to YouTube to catch a live stream this morning. That's on youtube.com/smooth981FM. Lagos is where you need to be this morning. That said, Tega, we're good to go.
All right, so we'll take the headlines and then we'll run through the stories from there.
On the bill this morning, Wrestling Federation unveils 6 wrestlers for Paris Olympics. And then we also find how the mighty falling by the wayside, but then defending champion Vudusova in shock after first round exit. You'll find out how. And then also you're likely to find this one, Ronaldo on Euros redemption trail after Slovenia penalty ride. As there would also be Spain come from behind to thrash Georgia and reach the Euro 2024 quarterfinals. And of course, there would be Tedesco wants Belgium to believe against France, as Spalletti to remain Italy's coach despite the Euro 2024 humbling. And then what else? No mercy, no problem, as Argentina down Peru, Canada advance. These and more this morning. Tega, over. Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry. Can you see the?
Yes. All right. Let's go on. We'll pick it up as we go now from the tracks. Yes.
Let's start with the wrestling.
Yes.
With the wrestling story.
All right, pick it up now from the wrestling story. We would get the story across this morning. So what exactly, as we prepare for the Olympics, the unveiling of these wrestlers, what are our hopes like this morning, Tega?
All right, so the hopes are, in fact, I think one of your best hopes, because Nigerian wrestlers tried to medal at least. I think the disappointment last time out was Oduayo at Dekoroye, where she got locked. I can never forget, so because Blessing Obrodudu had just won her own fight, and so we thought Oduayo definitely, she's winning. This is our medal. And then the girl caught her in that headlock that she was not moving anywhere. I remember that day like it was yesterday, because I was when I saw the lock, I was like, that looks like she can't break out. But I think it was Blessing Obrodudu's reaction of Jesus that made me know that okay, that was a tough lock, because when the wrestlers are watching, they know exactly what's happening even before we know. So as soon as the girl held Oduayo and Blessing shouted Jesus, I was like, okay, this fight is over, definitely over. And that was the sad disappointment, but it's redemption time. And I like the fact that the Wrestling Federation, they always seem prepared. Whether federal government is ready or not, Wrestling Federation is ready. So kudos to Daniel Igali, always ready to set up his camp, his finished camp training. They were doing the send-off in Bielsa yesterday when they mentioned these names. So I can't wait to see what the girls, would do at the Olympics. But yes, it's beautiful to note that they've selected their players and they're good to go. So let's see how it works out for the Wrestling Federation.
All right, it looks eventually like, well, wrestling is something we can just probably hope for a medal for. That's one of our biggest hopes right now. And they look like they can't wait to get the Olympics started at this time. But let's get on to what happened at Wimbledon this morning, as you had already teased already. Let's speak up. Marketa Vondrousova's Wimbledon's title chase came to an early end as she fell to a surprise first-round defeat by Spain's Jessica Bozas-Mainero.
Yes, that one. So that was the shocker. And you know how they say it is defending champions open on center court. So everybody expected that Bozas will not be ready for center court, because center courts can be very daunting. And so you expect that the girl that hasn't won as many matches as possible will struggle on center court. But the person that struggled on center court was Vondrousova. At first, we didn't notice the injury. We just noticed that she was struggling on her point. She was broken early. She couldn't break back. When she couldn't break back, I was like, how do you start your tournament like this? Then she broke back, and we're like, okay, maybe it's time for her to get ready to do to really fight for the title. Then she breaks back, and she was broken back again. And then she lost the first set. I was like, okay, maybe second set she's going to get back. But by second set, I noticed that she was stretching her right leg. That's when it became evident that she was struggling with something. She was stretching her right leg. She was bent over. Sometimes when she sits on the bed, she would bend over, to kind of stretch her muscles. That's when we kind of knew that she was struggling with everything. Apart from the fact that she was missing, making a lot of unforced errors on court. It was when she started the physical stretches that we said, okay, maybe there's something really wrong with that. And there was. But top one, she loses a whole 2,000 points. And because she lost an entire 2,000 points because she couldn't defend her points match, she lost in the first round, literally the first round. You won the Wimbledon last year, you lose in the first round this year. That's 2,000 points gone. And because she's lost because she's lost 2,000 points, she's dropped out of top 10. Just like that. They didn't even wait. the consequences were immediate. So it's a tough one for her on that side. Also on the women's draw, Iga Swiatek played yesterday like clockwork. This one was clockwork.
She had to be somewhere. She had a date. She had to attend. No time to waste.
You can't. I don't know how. I don't know who sang it. I think it was Burna Boy or somebody that said you can bank on it. Iga Swiatek. Her draw is the toughest draw. Because, I've often said this thing. I've noticed that in Grand Slams, Iga Swiatek is world number 1. Sabalenka is world number 2. Iga Swiatek's draw always has the tougher players. And again, this year, her draw has the tougher players. She started her Wimbledon yesterday against a former Grand Slam winner. So it wasn't... They didn't give her any moment to just slide in.
Yeah.
She starts with Sabalenka's draw was her draw was a little easier. Then it made it even more easy with the fact that she withdrew with an injury. Then Pliskova was beaten in the first round. It was just, it's kind of one of the easiest draws on the side. So Iga Swiatek's draw is always tough, but the way that she went about her business, very quick. She didn't negotiate with anybody along the way. She's like, I'm just going to beat you. Go and sleep so that I'm ready for the next for the next obstacle on the course. So yeah, she went out. She went through in straight sets. Also, Onojiafe played yesterday. And she's through. You know, Onojiafe loves grass, so she's through in a brilliant form. Hopefully, her injuries don't show up later in the tournament. But yeah, so far, some of the big names are making it through. Kogov, Onojiafe, Iga Swiatek. Those are the names you expect.
Is there
Rubakina
Naomi
also.
Osaka somewhere in the
Oh,
mix?
Naomi Osaka made it through yesterday.
Okay, just gonna ask. And
Yesterday.
it seems like our ranking is like around 100 right now.
Her ranking, she has entered top 100. And
Okay.
yes, some people are applauding it. I'm just like, that's still too low. Because
Yeah, okay.
she's been so consistent over the past few months. I was like, still top 100? Really? Really?
You know, you took me back to the undergraduate days now, where you talked about that how someone lost 200 points right now. And you know those courses you go for, like electives, that can just do damage to your CGPA. That's what I felt right now when you mentioned that drop in point and how she just the ranking, it would affect her greatly. But let's see the setup now.
2,000 points, you say 200.
That's massive to lose right now. But again, to the men's category, Yannick Sinner may be maybe the new spearhead of Italian tennis after taking the baton from Matteo Berrettini. But the world number one will brace himself for a tough challenge in their Wimbledon's second round showdown on Wednesday. Today.
Yes, today, yes. And both countrymen were playing football with each other yesterday.
Oh my God.
I was like, how are you playing in a tough second round matchup tomorrow, and you are playing football with each other tomorrow? They probably ate pizza together at night, but such is the Italian Federation. It's like one person's success kind of guarantees the other person's success, because you know what it is, like the federation has put in a lot of effort into their tennis, the same way they put into football, and they won several World Cups. It's the same way they put into their tennis. And so Matteo Berrettini it was Fabio Fognini that was the first person to just put his head up, but he didn't have the consistency, and I think that was part of a questionable discipline and work ethic on Fabio Berrettini's part. He didn't have the consistency, but he kind of brought the notice to Italian tennis being back on the rise. And then Matteo Berrettini came up, but he had one too many injuries. Just too many injuries. And then Yannick Sinner has come out and he's like, no injuries, very consistent, and is now world number one. So one person's success is kind of everybody's success. Because even on the women's side, you know, as Yannick Sinner is climbing in the men's ranking, Paolini is climbing in the women's ranking, and they all know each other, and they all talk to each other, and they all hang out with each other. So they're not enemies, but on court today, it'd be a renewed rivalry, and it will be a good test. For Matteo Berrettini, a very tough one that, you know, he would have thought he'd be the one leading the men's ranking in Italian tennis, but he suffered too many injuries. However, he's still a fantastic player, especially on grass. That's what makes this interesting. But for Yannick Sinner, his consistency all through 2024 is something to acknowledge. You know, he's already won a Grand Slam, won 2 Masters, won several other tournaments. So you're looking at the world number one, deservedly, on the number of tournaments he's won, on his win rate percentage, and on his performance throughout 2024. So I still think Yannick Sinner will take this one. But if you are neutral, just come and enjoy great tennis, because there will be great tennis here.
Now, because you touched on it, you talked about the camaraderie with these tennis players. And I saw the photo put out by Wimbledon where we had Sabalenka. So sad she's left now due to injury. A photograph of Sabalenka and Onojiafe being good friends off court, but falls on the court. I was like,
Onojiafe is friends with everybody. She's like they call her minister of happiness.
Okay.
Yeah, they call her she's very loved in the locker room. They call her minister of happiness. But yeah, the girls are friends. On tour, but Paula Badrosa is actually Anna Sabalenka's closest friends. But I've seen them play against each other. In fact, it was injury that ended that match. they were giving both sides. They were giving it to each
Back
other
to
from
back.
both sides, back to back. Every forehand was a hit. But it was injury that ended up one. But yes, a lot of this because they're traveling all the time. They live out of a travel suitcase, and these are the people they meet every time in various tournaments. So most of their friends are usually within the circle, you know. And so you see that, of course, also boy is friends with a lot of people. But she's close to Sabalenka. But I think the relationship that stunned me when I saw them play against each other was the Badosa Sabalenka own. Very good friends, and when they faced each other, very fierce rivals. it's interesting.
I just hope that young woman who was coming to pick up that man after he won will not be around this Wimbledon, or they're giving her a warning not to show up anytime soon. Or is that guy around this time around?
I don't even know. I beg. She should just carry her wahala and stay in her house.
All right, Tega. It's still the locker room on Smooth 98.1 FM. More stories on the other side. Stay tuned.
8.1.
Have you check your WhatsApp? Check your WhatsApp. The everything they upload.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Correct account.
Okay.
I've seen it.
You get
Thank
to
you.
secure your tomorrow
Thank you.
and get rewarded while at it. You can start saving with just
Or you
5,000
can refresh the document and let's see.
interest rates. Yes, you can save as low as 5,000 naira. That's not all.
Let me quickly see. Let's
Refresh.
let me touch base with the story. What I have now. I've got Ronaldo redemption.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got Spain come from behind with Georgia.
No. Is that the next story?
Yes, it is after the break. Spain from behind. Come from behind to trash Georgia. That's what's here. That I've asked against Spalletti, and then that's it.
No, that's wrong. After the break, just go to your WhatsApp. Check your WhatsApp now.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Have you said okay, yeah, thanks. Okay. Okay, I've seen okay.
WhatsApp, have you seen the difference?
I've seen Cena. Okay, we've done Cena. Ronaldo redemption, yes.
After the
Griezmann.
break.
Then Griezmann.
Yes. Yes.
Isn't you? Okay. That's how we're
So the thing they update from after the break.
from after the break, right?
Yes.
So, but we have to deal with Ronaldo first.
Yes, Ronaldo first, and then after
Okay,
the break, you
I'll
know.
come and follow that. I'll follow the other ones. That's it. Thanks. We're Smooth 98.1 FM and still got Tega inside the locker room as we pick up the pace. Tega, let's get started while we wait for the messages to refresh on the platform. We're expecting to read your messages on 0809-444-0981 for WhatsApp messages. You can also leave us a message on youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. Leave your thoughts there and of course leave us a thumbs up there as well as you can share the page as we go along. Now, let's pick up the story that comes in here. Cristiano Ronaldo has so often been Portugal's savior that potentially becoming the villain brought him to tears. How did this happen?
Yes, it was one of the most interesting ones. But yeah, I think it was evident to everybody to see. I've been saying it. Martinez, I'm not sure it's one of the greatest coaches out there. But somehow he must have a very good personality because he gets some of the good jobs. And so leading the Portuguese team, despite them being one of the most complete teams at the Euros, if you're talking of personnel playing in their right positions, he just couldn't get past Slovenia. They couldn't score goals. And then Cristiano Ronaldo gets a goal in extra time. Remember this in the 90 minutes was over, and they got to extra time. Cristiano Ronaldo gets a penalty. Sorry, Portugal gets a penalty. Cristiano Ronaldo steps up to take it. And of course, you would already say 1-0 in your head. But unfortunately, Cristiano Ronaldo is not Iga Swiatek. You can't always bank on it. And
Tega, that shade is just too much,
and
Tega.
so he steps up and the penalty was saved. Now, when the penalty was saved, I was still sure that Portugal was going to go through because Slovenia cannot score to save their lives. The chances that Slovenia had in inter-house sports, they will score 2 goals with those chances. Inter-house sports, I'm not talking secondary school inter-house sports, I'm not talking professional footballers now. So you can't win a match without scoring goals. So I was almost certain that Portugal was still going through. But it was the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo missed a penalty. It was now half time of the extra time. And he started crying.
Oh.
I was like, oh, God, you can't do that now. Psychologically, that's just a defeatist position. And a lot of people were saying, oh, he was doing it to deceive anybody. He was not deceiving anybody. He was crying real tears. I was like, yeah, I understand that you are hurt, that you could have taken your team through. But why are you crying when there's a whole 15 minutes left? It was just the wrong body language to have. But eventually he shook it off, came back in the penalty shootout, decided this time that he was going to take the first penalty kick as opposed to waiting for the last one. Decided that he was going to lead, take the first penalty kick, and he buried it. And again, like I said, the Slovenia players couldn't score the goals for any reason. I think if they put a gun to their head and said score, they will still die because all 3 stepped up and all 3 penalties were saved. I've not seen that kind of thing before. 3 penalties taken, 3 penalties saved, penalty shootout over. There was no need. Yes, that was it. And yes, I don't want to take much from Costa, who was the goalkeeper, but some of those penalties, I would save it. I would save Illich. Yes, I would save Illich's penalty every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Illich's penalty, I want to save him die. In the first and third penalties, I'd save them. The second one, that was a brilliant save. Okay. So, tough one. They were out, but Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, redeemed himself. So I'm just saying, don't be crying like that. It's very unnecessary tears. You cry at the end of the match if you lose, yes. You hold your tears, comport yourself. 15 entire minutes and you are crying. What's the meaning of that rubbish?
They said the man even cried more tears in that game than the rain we experienced this morning in Lagos. That's how some persons put it right now.
All right, so interesting one, but let's see how they've progressed now. They're going to be playing against France. Let's see how that works out for them.
Let's go over now as Antoine Griezmann returned to France team proved unconvincing as they struggled to beat Belgium in the Euro 2024 last 16, but he was still delighted with their progress in the quarterfinal.
Again, if you're talking disappointments at these Euros, you must mention France as the number 1 disappointment, because you look at them when they won the Euros, you look at them when they won the World Cup, you look at them. They didn't win the Euros. You look at them when they won the World Cup. You look at them when they went to the last World Cup in 2022 and got all the way to the finals. You look at the team in its entirety, and then you look at the coach. So I've won the World Cup as a player and as a coach. It's not an easy feat. Very few people in the world. So Didier Deschamps, if you check the bench, if you check the coach, if you check the players, you're like, okay, the French team are certainly going to be one of the favorites. But they haven't done anything on the football pitch. To score from open play, wahala. You know that France has still not scored from open play till today. And they're in the quarterfinals. Till today, the goal that they scored against Belgium, deflection, own goal. Very horrible team like this. I've never seen such a put out. How can you have all these players bench on the starting 11? Players everywhere, from Griezmann to Mbappe to Giroud to this one to Chouameni to. How can you have all these players? No goal from open play. They're in the quarterfinal.
So,
if you are talking disappointment, this is the team. This is the team. You know what you ordered and what you got. This is the team. The French national team is the team. And so Antoine Griezmann can be happy that they've made it through to the next round, but they have not been convincing. And they come up against another disappointment in Portugal. So I think that's one we'll call it the battles of the disappointment.
Oops.
Almost like the battle of the bastards. But this one will be the battle of the disappointment. And I still again I will sit on the fence here because it's been a horrible show. It's been a horrible show. I know you can question the decisions. Yeah, I would question him as the manager. At the end of the day, the box stopper is dead. To how the team is performing on the pitch. I know you can question that, but how as a player like Mbappe, how do you not score?
Like how?
How do you not score from open play? How are you sleeping well at night?
Oh my God.
How?
Right.
How are you looking yourself in the mirror to brush down your hair? You see, and you see them, they'll be laying their edges with nice gel. How do you look yourself in the mirror to lay your edges when you can't score from open play? Anyway, we move on to the next story.
Netherlands Cody Gakpo scored his third goal of the European Championship, and Daniel Malone added two more late as the Dutch burst back into form with a lively display to defeat Romania 3-0 in their last 16 fixture on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Dutch again still very wasteful because they created a lot of chances. The game should have been over and done with by maybe the second minute of the second half. But they created chance after chance after chance, but they eventually were able to win that one by 3-1. Now, if I'm Louis van Gaal, I will still bring out the hairdryer because we are getting to the business end now of the Euros. You cannot be creating 20-something chances and scoring only 3 goals. It was the way that it was the chances they missed. I don't think you understand. It was if you saw the match, you would just be beating the Dutch team, regardless of the fact that they came out with a convincing victory. You'd be beating because they created chance after chance after chance, and they missed chance after chance after chance. So the score line may seem like it was good, but that's due to the quality of opposition. On the balance of what they created and how they converted those chances, it left a lot to be desired. So yes, they are through to the next round, but still, the jury is still out on them. If you ask
You can't
me,
bank.
and
You can't bank on them. Then that's what you're saying.
you can't bank on them. It's not the time you play Bonner ball. You can't bank on them.
Argentina's Lionel Messi returned to training on Monday as they prepare to face Ecuador in Copa America quarterfinals in Houston this week.
Yes, so they're facing Ecuador in the quarterfinals tomorrow, which is Thursday. So Lionel Messi bring back is interesting because remember he picked up this injury, this knock against Chile. Remember when those people were fighting war against Argentina? Argentina eventually managed to win that one by 1-0, but the damage was done. Lionel Messi picked up a knock. Fortunately for them, because they had qualified for the quarterfinal, they were able to rest him. The question was how many days of rest does he need? Because he's no longer a spring chicken anymore. The kind of knock you will shake off in your 20s. When you get to your 30s, you don't need to shake it off like that. So, so the question was he going to be able to fit to play another 90 minutes in a tough quarterfinal against Ecuador? We'll find out tomorrow. But the good news that he's been able to train with the team so far. Which is different from the fact that he was asked to even sit out training completely. He was just walking around like he used to walk around. So he's training now. So hopefully we'll see him back on the pitch against Ecuador. Because yes, you'd think that on paper, Argentina should be able to defeat Ecuador without Lionel Messi. But still, Lionel Messi is such a joy to watch. It's no longer just about winning teams now. It's about watching the brilliance of such a player on the pitch. And so let's see if he's going to be available to play against Ecuador in the quarterfinals of the Copa America tomorrow.
Still talking about Copa America, the United States crashed out of the Copa America on Monday after a nil defeat to Uruguay as Panama sealed their place in the quarterfinals with a 3-1 win over Bolivia.
Yes, and that is where the bone of contention is. USA were in a group with Panama and Bolivia. I know that we know Panama for hiding money. I didn't know that we knew Panama for football. The fact that the US lost, it has crashed out of the group stages in a group that contained Bolivia and Panama is ridiculous. But you could also feel sad for them to an extent because Uruguay knocked them out with what is now known to be an offside goal. The referee should have called that goal as offside. The referee didn't. And so if you are USA, you'd feel hard done by that, oh, it was an offside goal that knocked you out. But you were in a
Mm.
group with Panama and Bolivia. You shouldn't have been in that position where you needed that 1 point to
Mm.
make it through. I think that's what they should focus on, as opposed to the offside goal. So of course, as host of the next World Cup, there'd be a lot of investigation. I don't know if the coach would survive this one, but
Yeah.
because they are hosting the next World Cup, US is putting a lot of focus in building their football, and for them to be knocked out of the group stage of Copa America, it's a very tough one for them. But we'll see how it works out for the rest of the tournament. Since the
All right.
hosts of Copa America are now out, let's see what attendance will still look like for other matches.
All right, Tega, we've got to cruise through messages right now. We've got AY from Niru who says, well, Portugal was saved by the heroics of Diego Costa against Slovenia. And then he talks about, but they won't be lucky against France on Friday. Cristiano Ronaldo will surely cry again. And then comes Bosun from Surulere. I think seeing his mom cry was what broke him down to tears. And that's
He did not see his mother cry anything. He saw the picture later. You people should stop making excuses. Boy started just crying. Because he was crying that the mother started crying.
Oh, Tega, you wouldn't even take any excuse for this man even at all. Anyway, Tayo says, Portugal asset is Ronaldo is gradually becoming a liability, but what do I know? Rotus should also tell us the implication. Then the evil that VAR has done against Belgium is finally over, especially Lukaku. Euro so far is underwhelming. I feel there are too many managed games to execute. And then comes Mohammed. Tega, you get mouth. That is why you are a journalist. You save penalty. Ow, Tega. Someone is daring to a shootout very soon. Do you know the size of the standard of the goalpost?
Mohammed, you and I. 5-5 penalty. Monkey post, 5-5 penalty.
I just proved it wrong. Now, do you know the size of the standard? And now only money post penalty you fit save. And it goes on. I know a mouse would read my message again. Please save, leave CR7 alone. This is last Euros. Let him cry all he wants. He's a hero. You praise Messi, but condemn Ronaldo. Bias confirmed.
But Messi won World Cup now. Messi is winning a Copa America. That we'll be praising them. When Cristiano Ronaldo win World Cup, we praise him too. No, I did not say he did not do well. I said he should not be crying nonsense by 15 whole minutes. I said, Mohammed, pick a time and a place. You and I 5-5 penalty. I'm done with you. Pick a place.
They're leaving you flowers for your mouth this morning, and that's from Bosu from Surulere. Tega, this your mouth can raise the dead. That's from Bosu from Surulere. And that's all I can take right now. I see your bitches on YouTube. But Tega, final words on the show this morning.
All right. Do have a great day. If you pick the venue for the 5-5 penalty, let me know. All right. On that note, have a great week till we come your way again on Friday. It's bye from me.